This screencast is being sent to any student who is absent from school on Friday, November 13th. And this is going to go over the activity that was reviewed during advisory on that day. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it's going to look like if and when we have to go virtual. That decision has not been made at this point, but we didn't want to wait until it had been made to start going over these expectations. So you'll see off to the left that your virtual schedule is basically the same as it is for a regular school day. The only difference here is that your Core 2 class, instead of breaking it up into two parts, it's going to be all together, and that way you have a nicer little chunk for lunch. So the first thing you should do, or I wouldn't say the first thing you should do, one thing you should do at some point during the day is watch the announcements. The announcements share information that's important for you to know about what's going on in your school day, any clubs that you might be involved in. We still did a lot of spirit things, really trying to stay connected as a school. So please do make sure that you watch the announcements. Then you'll log into your Google Meet, and you can just type that in the address bar at the top, Google Meet. And when you go into Google Meet, it's a lot better than it was last year. This year, you don't have to worry about typing in Google Meet codes or anything. Your teachers already have you scheduled into your Google Meets. And so you can just click on this link and it'll tell you. If your math class is Core 1, it'll tell you Math Core 1 and what time it is. And then you'll see kind of a schedule for the day. So you'll know exactly what time you need to log into your meets. When you do log in, make sure that your microphone is muted, so that you can hear and listen for directions and there's not a lot of background noise going on for when teacher starts class. So the other first thing that you need to do is to make sure that you log into attendance every day. And so when you are in advisory, your teachers are going to try to remind you to do that at least at the beginning, but that is just something you need to start building into your routine. You are responsible for taking your attendance in Infinite Campus, and there are going to be two components to your attendance for the day. So just because you log into Infinite Campus doesn't necessarily mean you get credit for the day. You then also need to make sure that you participate in class and that you complete your work for the day. Okay? Make sure you're on time for your Google Meets. We will be starting class very promptly. Your teacher will probably take attendance right at the beginning, and we will be doing verbal attendance. So make sure that you're listening, make sure that you're responding. Be aware that a quick link for a quick control key to unmute your mic is Control D. So get used to just hitting that whenever you hear your name so that you can respond and then go back to mute so that your background noise doesn't interfere with others. You need to make sure that you stay in the meet the entire time. Unless your teacher directs you to leave, you must stay in attendance. The nice thing about Google Meet right now too is that we get a little printout at the end of class that tells us what time each student logged in and what time they logged out. So being prompt and being sure that you stay in the meet. Participation is mandatory. You must respond when you are called on or you're marked absent for the day. And so even if you say here at the beginning of class and you talk to the teacher, if later in class we go over a problem and call on you and you don't respond, then we will assume that you're not paying attention, you're not participating in class, and you will be marked off for the day, even though you were there at the meet and it says that you are in the meet, it says that you logged into Infinite Campus. If you don't participate in class, you're not going to get credit for that class. If we're completing something in class together, you must be working with your teacher or you're going to be marked absent again. So again, it's not just being there logged in, it's doing the work. And this is a big difference from how it was set up last year. So I really cannot stress that enough. If your teachers are on a Pear Deck and they're on slide 4, then you better be on slide 4 completing the work. If your teacher tells you to go to MobiMax or MemBean and you're not on the activity when we log in to see it, then you will be marked absent. And so your work for that day isn't going to, your attendance for that day is not going to count. It's critically important that you are only on the work that your teacher is assigning you. Don't get into the habit of having extra tabs open. You need to lock your phone away when you're in class, just like you would be if you were in school. Focus on what's happening in the moment. There's going to be a lot more explanation. You're going to have to rely a lot more on your teacher giving you directions verbally than, being in class. So try to start building some smart, healthy habits right at the beginning of this to make yourself successful. Nobody wants to be doing online learning. We know it's much better for you to be in school, but we are going to do everything we can to help make this successful for you, but you have to take some responsibility in that as well. We do know that your home lives are going to be a little distracting, I'm sure. Your parents are probably working from home. You might have siblings working from home. Your dog might be barking. Use headphones to make sure that you can kind of filter out some of that extra noise and stay focused. Okay? If you have any other questions, you can always direct them to any one of your teachers and we'll help you. But we did want to just make sure that we went over these clear expectations right at the beginning.